When did 40 FBI agents storm into the classroom together? Professor Hendricks said it during office hours. You plagiarized your thesis, all of it. I sat across from his desk, hands folded in my lap. The afternoon sun cut through his window, hitting the stacks of papers between us. That's not true. It is. I have proof. He tapped a folder. Every source, every paragraph lifted directly from published research. You didn't write a single original word. My chest tightened. I cited everything. You approved my bibliography. Citations don't matter when you copy entire sections verbatim. That's theft, Mr. Chen. Academic fraud. The air felt thick, heavy. What happens now? He leaned back in his chair, smiled, not friendly, triumphant. I'm recommending expulsion. Your degree will be revoked. Your name will be flagged in every academic database in the country. You'll never work in research again. I'd spent 6 years at Stanford, 6 years of all-nighters and research grants, and barely scraping by on ramen and coffee. My thesis was on corporate espionage in the tech industry, 200 pages, 18 months of work. Professor Hendricks had been my advisor the entire time, guided every chapter, approved every draft. Now he was destroying me. Professor, please, I didn't plagiarize. I can show you my notes, my drafts, everything. Save it for the ethics committee. He stood up. We're done here. I walked out of his office in a daze. The hallway was empty, quiet, just the hum of fluorescent lights above me. My phone buzzed. My roommate, Jake. Dude, did you hear? Hendricks is publishing a new book next month. Corporate Espionage in Tech. Same topic as your thesis. My stomach dropped. I pulled up the publisher's website. There it was. Digital Thieves. Corporate Espionage in Silicon Valley by Dr. Raymond Hendricks. The description was familiar. Too familiar. It was my thesis. Every chapter, every argument, every case study I'd spent months researching. He'd stolen my work, then accused me of plagiarism to cover his tracks. For 3 days, I didn't sleep. Just sat in my apartment, reading and rereading my thesis, comparing it to Hendricks' book preview. It was identical, not similar. Identical. He'd taken everything, changed a few words here and there, added his name to the cover. Jake came home from class and found me still on my laptop. You look like hell, man. Hendricks stole my thesis. He's publishing it as his own book. Jake's eyes went wide. Are you serious? Dead serious. Look. I turned the screen toward him. He read for 2 minutes, then whistled low. That's your work, word for word. I know. So what are you going to do? I thought about it. The ethics committee wouldn't believe me. Hendricks was tenured, published, respected. I was a grad student with no credibility and a plagiarism accusation on my record. I'm going to prove it. I started digging Hendricks' office hours, his schedule, his routine. He came in at 7 a.m. every day, left at 6 p.m., locked his office every time. But Jake had a friend in facilities management, got me a copy of the master key. I waited until 9 p.m. on a Thursday. Campus was empty. Security made rounds every 2 hours. I had plenty of time. Hendricks' office was exactly how I remembered. Messy desk, stacks of papers, computer unlocked, sloppy. I plugged in a USB drive and started copying files, drafts, emails, everything. It took 20 minutes. Then I saw it, a folder labeled Chen Thesis Final. Inside were all my original drafts with Hendricks' notes in the margins. Change this section to first person. Remove Chen's name from citations. This will be chapter 3 in my book. He'd been planning this for months since I first started working with him. I copied everything, every file, every email, every piece of evidence. Then I left. The next morning, I called a lawyer, copyright attorney named David Park. He specialized in intellectual property theft. This is cut and dry, he said after reviewing the files. Hendricks committed fraud, but proving it in court will take months, maybe years. I don't have months. The ethics committee hearing is in 2 weeks. Then we need leverage, something that forces Hendricks to back down immediately. Like what? Park thought for a moment. Does Hendricks have any federal contracts? Research grants from government agencies? Yeah, NSA funding. He's done cybersecurity research for them for years. Park smiled. Then we go federal. If Hendricks committed fraud while receiving federal funds, that's wire fraud. That brings in the FBI. I filed a complaint with the FBI's white-collar crime division, included every piece of evidence, every email, every file. They took it seriously. Special Agent Morrison called me 3 days later. Mr. Chen, we've reviewed your complaint. We're opening an investigation into Professor Hendricks. Are you willing to cooperate? Absolutely. Good. We'll need you to testify, and we'll need access to the university's servers to verify the timeline of the theft. Whatever you need. One more thing. We'll be executing a search warrant soon. It's going to be public. Are you prepared for that? I thought about Hendricks, about his smug smile when he accused me of plagiarism. I'm ready. The ethics committee hearing was scheduled for Tuesday at 2 p.m. I showed up early, sat in the waiting area outside the conference room. Hendricks arrived at 1:55 p.m., saw me and smirked. Still planning to fight this, Chen? Just accept responsibility and move on. We'll see. At 2 p.m., we were called inside. The committee was already seated, of 5 professors, Dean Martinez at the head of the table. Mr. Chen, you're here to respond to allegations of academic plagiarism. Professor Hendricks has provided evidence that your thesis contains extensive plagiarized material. How do you respond? I open my laptop. I respond by showing you this. I pulled up the files, Hendricks' drafts, his emails, the folder labeled Chen Thesis Final. Professor Hendricks didn't just accuse me of plagiarism. He stole my work. He's publishing it as his own book next month. The room went silent. Hendricks stood up. This is absurd. Those files are fabricated. They're not fabricated. They came from your office computer, along with emails showing you planned this theft for over a year. Dean Martinez was reading the emails on the screen. His face went pale. Professor Hendricks, is this true? Of course not. Chen's lying. He broke into my office. The conference room door opened. Special Agent Morrison walked in. Behind her, 3 more FBI agents. Professor Raymond Hendricks? Hendricks froze. Yes? You're under investigation for wire fraud and theft of intellectual property. We have a warrant to search your office and seize your computers. The color drained from Hendricks' face. Wire fraud? This is academic business. You have no jurisdiction. You receive federal funding from the NSA while committing fraud. That makes it our jurisdiction. Morrison turned to me. Mr. Chen, thank you for your cooperation. She handed a document to Dean Martinez. We'll need access to university servers. And Professor Hendricks, you're not to leave the building until we've completed our search. Hendricks sank into his chair, speechless. The committee members stared, shocked. Dean Martinez looked at the documents Morrison had given him, then at Hendricks, then at me. In light of this development, the plagiarism charges against Mr. Chen are dismissed immediately. One of the committee members, Professor Walsh, spoke up. Dean Martinez, we should suspend Professor Hendricks pending investigation. Agreed. Martinez turned to Hendricks. Professor, you're suspended without pay, effective immediately. You're to surrender your faculty ID and building access. Security will escort you from campus once the FBI completes their search. Hendricks finally found his voice. You can't do this. I have tenure. I have rights. You have the right to remain silent, Morrison said, which I'd suggest you exercise. We'll be filing federal charges within 48 hours. Morrison looked at me, nodded once, then gestured to the other agents. Let's go. We have an office to search. They left. The door closed behind them. The room stayed silent for a long moment. Hendricks sat frozen. His hands were shaking. The smug confidence from an hour ago completely gone. Dean Martinez stood up. Professor Walsh, please contact campus security. Have them meet us at Professor Hendricks' office. Right away. Martinez looked at me. Mr. Chen, I owe you an apology on behalf of the university. This should never have happened. Thank you, Dean. Your thesis will be published under your name with full university support, and we'll be reviewing all of Professor Hendricks' recent publications for similar fraud. Hendricks made a sound, almost like a whimper. I stood up, closed my laptop, looked at Hendricks one last time. He wouldn't meet my eyes. For what it's worth, Professor, you were right about one thing. He looked up, confused, desperate. I did learn a lot from you, just not what you intended to teach. I walked out. Outside the building, campus was buzzing. Word had already spread. FBI agents searching a professor's office wasn't something that happened every day. Jake was waiting by the fountain. Dude, there are FBI agents everywhere. What the hell happened in there? Hendricks got caught. Holy shit. So you're clear? Yeah, I'm clear. Jake grabbed my shoulders. Man, I thought you were done. I thought he was going to destroy you. He tried. We started walking back toward the grad student housing. The afternoon sun was warm. The campus looked different somehow, lighter. My phone rang. Agent Morrison. Mr. Chen, we've completed the initial search. We found everything we needed. Hendricks kept meticulous records of the theft. Every file, every edit, every piece of your work he planned to steal. Will that be enough for charges? More than enough. Wire fraud, theft of government-funded research, conspiracy. He's looking at 10 years minimum in federal prison. 10 years for stealing my work and trying to destroy my career? What about his book? The publisher's been notified. Publication is canceled. All advance copies are being destroyed. Your work will be credited properly. And the university? They're cooperating fully. They've already started reviewing Hendricks's entire publication history. Looks like you weren't his first victim, just the first one who fought back. My stomach turned. There were others? At least 3 other grad students over the past decade. Similar pattern. He'd steal their work, accuse them of plagiarism, then publish it himself after they left in disgrace. Jesus. Yeah, but you stopped him. And because of your evidence, we can help those other students now. Clear their names, restore their work. I hadn't thought about that this was bigger than just me. Thank you, Agent Morrison. No, thank you. Most people in your position would have given up, would have accepted the accusations and moved on. You didn't. I couldn't. It was my work. It was, and now everyone will know that. She hung up. Jake and I walked in silence for a while. So what now? He asked. Now I finish my degree, publish my thesis, move on. Just like that? Just like that. But it wasn't just like that, not really, because Hendricks had tried to take everything from me. My work, my career, my future. And instead, he lost everything himself. His job, his reputation, his freedom. All because he got greedy. Because he thought a grad student wouldn't fight back. Wouldn't have the resources or the courage to expose him. He thought wrong. 3 months later, I was in the university bookstore. They'd just put out the new academic publications, textbooks, research papers, theses, and there on the shelf was mine, Digital Thieves, Corporate Espionage in Silicon Valley by James Chen. I picked it up, held it. The weight of it felt good, real. Everything I'd worked for, everything I'd fought for, mine. A student walked past, saw the book in my hands. Oh man, that's required reading for CyberSec 301. Professor said it's the best thing written on corporate espionage in years. I smiled. Yeah, the guy who wrote it is a grad student here. Heard he had some crazy drama with his advisor trying to steal it or something. Something like that. The student grabbed a copy. Wild stuff. Can't believe a professor would do that. He walked away. I put my copy back on the shelf, took a photo, sent it to Jake with the caption, "We made it." He responded immediately. Damn right we did. Drinks tonight? Yeah, drinks tonight. I left the bookstore and walked across campus, past Hendricks's old office. There was a new name on the door now. Professor Sarah Kim. She'd reached out last week, wanted to collaborate on research. No theft, no games, just honest work. That's all I'd ever wanted. My phone buzzed. Agent Morrison again. Mr. Chen, wanted to give you an update. Hendricks took a plea deal this morning. 5 years in federal prison, complete forfeiture of all academic credentials, permanent ban from any educational institution. 5 years? His lawyer argued for leniency, said Hendricks showed remorse. The judge wasn't impressed. Good. There's more. The 3 other students he victimized, they're all getting settlements from the university, and their work is being republished under their names. One of them is getting her PhD reinstated. My throat felt tight. That's really good. It is, and it's because of you, because you didn't give up. I just wanted my work back. You got that, and you got justice for yourself and for others. We hung up. I stood there for a moment on the quad, students walking past, professors heading to classes, the normal rhythm of campus life, except nothing felt normal anymore. It felt better, because I'd faced someone who tried to destroy me, someone with power and status and reputation, and I'd won. Not because I was smarter or stronger, but because I was right, and I had proof, and I refused to let him get away with it. The FBI didn't storm in with 40 agents like some movie, just 4, but it was enough, more than enough, to watch Hendricks realize he'd been caught, to watch his face go white, to watch everything he'd built collapse in real time. That moment, that single moment when the door opened and Agent Morrison walked in, that was worth everything. Worth the sleepless nights, the fear, the uncertainty, worth all of it. Because in that moment, Hendrix knew. He knew he'd lost and I'd won. That's all I needed.